my dear students, welcome to my class. In this class, today I am going to teach you how to express a whole number as a fraction. Is it possible to write a whole number as a fraction? For example, you know 2, 3, 4 are some examples of whole number. Can we express these numbers as fractions? Is it possible? Let us look for it. You can see 3 apples on a yellow plate. Can we express these 3 apples as a fraction? If we want to express these 3 apples as a fraction, we need to know the denominator and the numerator of these 3 apples. How can we find out this numerator and the denominator of these 3 apples? So, if we wanted to find out what is the denominator and what is the numerator, we should have a deep understanding about numerator and denominator. What is a denominator? What is a numerator? We have to revise them. Then only we can find out a way to express these 3 apples as a fraction. So let's try for that. Actually, what is meant by a denominator? Denominator is the number of pieces required for making a whole apple. Now you can see 3 plates on the screen, and each plate has 1 apple on it. Now I am going to cut the apple on the yellow plate into 2 pieces and the apple on the blue plate into 3 pieces and the apple on the glass plate into 4 pieces. Now you can see 2 pieces on the yellow plate and 3 pieces on the blue plate and 4 pieces on the glass plate. And now I am going to touch 1 piece on the yellow plate. How many pieces like this one I have touched are required to make a whole apple? Can you say? Yes, 2. Then now I am going to touch the 1 piece on the blue plate. Can you tell me how many pieces like the one I have touched to make a whole apple? If your answer is 3, that is correct. Now I am going to touch the 1 piece on the glass plate, and can you tell me how many pieces like the one I have touched on the glass plate are required to make 1 apple? That is your answer is 4. That is correct. Actually, denominator is a number to represent the size of a 1 piece, which is actually the number of pieces required to make a 1 whole apple in this case. A denominator of 1 piece is 2. That means number of pieces required to make a whole apple is 1. Now look at the yellow plate. How many pieces like this one are required to make a whole apple? 2. Then what is the denominator of this piece? This piece is 2 because 2 pieces are required to make one whole. Now look at the piece on the blue plate. How many pieces like this one are required to make whole apple? 3. Therefore, denominator of the piece on the blue plate is 3. And now look at the piece on the glass plate. How many pieces are required to make a 1 whole apple? 4. Therefore, denominator of this piece is 4 Now I think that you have get an idea of a denominator. The denominator gives us the clear picture, exact size, about the size of the a piece. For example, which is the biggest piece of all pieces seen on the screen? You will say the biggest piece is the piece on the yellow plate. Why? Only two pieces are required to make a whole apple. While the three pieces, like the one on blue plate, are required to make a whole apple. While four pieces, like the one on the glass plate, are required to make a whole apple. Therefore, the biggest piece is the piece on the yellow plate, which is the smallest piece. The smallest piece on the is the piece on the glass plate. Why? Four pieces are required to make a whole apple. So, it tells us that the size can be determined by the denominator. We can get a clear picture about the denominator size by the number written as a denominator. Now, I think that all of you have got a very clear idea about denominator. Now, we shall try to find out what does a numerator mean. Actually, a numerator is the number of pieces available, taken or given. Numerator can be verified or confirmed by counting, by actual counting. It is visible for us. Now, I am going to touch each piece on the plates, and you should be able to tell the denominator of the piece I touched. What is the denominator piece of the yellow place? Now I have touched 2, correct. Now, please tell what is the denominator of the piece on the blue plate? 3, very well. Now, I am going to touch the piece on the glass plate. What is the denominator of that piece? Now I have touched 4, very well. You have very well understood what a denominator is. Thank you. You can see that the yellow plate has 3 pieces same size on it, and blue plate 3 pieces of same size on it. Similarly, glass plates too have 3 pieces of same size on it. I will touch one piece on the yellow plate and one piece on the blue plate and one piece on the glass plate. You should try to see the denominator of the piece. What is the denominator of the piece I have touched? 2. Because what is the denominator of the piece now I touched on the blue plate? 3. Okay. What is the denominator of the piece I touched on the glass plate? 4. Yes, you are right. Let me ask you one question. What is the number of pieces on the yellow plate? Which means, what is the numerator of the pieces on the yellow plate? You can verify it by counting. 3. Okay. Similarly, we are able to find out the numerator of the pieces on the blue plate just by counting. It is 3. Similarly, we also can find out the number of pieces on the glass plate is 3 just by counting. me ask you, what is the denominator of the piece I have touched on the yellow plate? 2. How many pieces are there like the one as I have touched? 3. Then we have got numerator of the denominator of the pieces on the yellow plate. Now, please tell me what is the denominator of the piece I touched on the blue plate? 3. And how many pieces are there like the one I have touched on the plate? 3. Then numerator is 3. So we have got the numerator and denominator pieces on the blue plate. Now I am going to touch the one piece on the glass plate. What is the denominator of that piece? 4. How many pieces are there like the one I have touched on the glass plate? This can be verified by counting. 3. Now we have got the numerator of the glass plate, pieces of on the glass plate, also got the denominator of the pieces on the glass plate. That is 4. Now we are in a position to write down the fractions indicating the pieces on each plate. Shown in the list, the fraction representing the number of pieces on the yellow plate is 3 by 2, while the fraction representing the blue plate is 3 by 3, and the fraction representing the pieces on the glass plate is 3 by 4. For numerator 3, we have got a fraction with 4 as a denominator. Similarly, another fraction with 3 as a denominator, and another fraction with 2 as a denominator. This tells us that the numerator 3 can have any number 5, 6, 7 or 1 as its denominator. Then why can't we write down a fraction for 3 numerator with 1 as a denominator? Yes, it is possible. Then how can we display it by means of apples? If we are able to show it by means of apples, you have learned fractions well. If we can't, you please look at the try on the screen. You can see 3 apples which represent the fraction 3 by 1. Can't you believe it? If you can't believe it, I will show how these 3 apples is fraction for 3 by 1. Now I am going to touch one apple with my finger. Now tell what is the denominator of the apple I have touched. Means how many pieces like the one I have touched are required to make one apple. You will say 1. Then 1 is the denominator of the piece I have touched. Now you see how many pieces are there like the one I have touched there on the plate. You can see 3 apples are there. So 3 is the numerator. Then you have got the denominator and the numerator. Numerator is 3 while denominator is 1. Then what is the fraction for these 3 apples? 3 by 1. Now it is proved. Similarly, we can also prove that 2 by 1 is the fraction for 2 apples. Now I am going to touch one apple. How many pieces like this are required to make one whole apple? 1. Therefore, the denominator is 1. How many pieces like the like the one I have touched are there on the yellow plate, 2. Therefore, the numerator is 2. Now we have got numerator is 2 and denominator is 1. Then what is the fraction reference example? 2 by 1. So we have proved that 2 by 1 is equal to 2 apples. This, there is a simple way to prove that 2 by 1 is 2. The 2 apples we have seen now have been cut into 4 equal pieces. You know that these 4 pieces represent the 2 whole apples. These 4 pieces are represented by 4 by 2, which is equal, we know that it is equal to 4 by 2. Divide the numerator and denominator of the fraction 4 by 2 by 2. We will get the fraction, equivalent fraction, which is 2 by 1. It is equal to 2. So this proves that 2 is equal to 2 by 1. We can also have another equivalent fraction 4 by 2 by multiplying both the numerator and denominator of 2 by 1 by 2. We can also have another equivalent fraction 6 by 3 by multiplying the numerator and the denominator of the fraction 2 by 1 by 3. Similarly, we can find out infinite number of equivalent fractions for 2. Now I am going to conclude the class. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.